Hello, my name is Sandra Wick. I am the crop production agent for the Post-Rock District of K-State Research and Extension. This afternoon we have with us here Fred Severance, a producer from actually eastern Mitchell County and western Cloud County, near the metropolis of Asherville, Kansas. Okay?
The Paris of the prairies.
There you go. And you guys are celebrating 150 years this
Absolutely.
year.
Proudly so.
Okay. So that's an exciting time, you know, to have a town that's been established for that long.
It is. And to have a community that has thrived for this long, you got to have something going for you. So we're pretty proud.
Exactly. So thanks for sharing with us today and visiting with us. And thank you, Fred, for taking time out of your busy schedule. And we just wanted Fred to share with us a little bit about his farming operation, specifically crops in north central Kansas here. So Fred, why don't you just start out and tell us a little bit about your operation here.
Piece of cake. I am 100% no-till. In a given year, I'll plant half of my acres to wheat, and I'll split the other half between soybeans and milo. When I started farming, the good ground was at a premium, and I kind of took what was left, and were it not for the good graces of a couple of landlords who have a real sense of humor and some good fortune along the way, I'd probably be selling insurance by now, but that's not the way it turned out. One of the reasons I still grow milo is that it's a dependable crop, and I do not own a cow. So silage is not in my future. But I do kind of like to harvest milo, so it's always good for me.
Okay, as you're well aware of, and our audience is well aware of, Mother Nature has kind of been a challenge for us the last couple years. You know, I remember 2 years ago, it was pretty dry out here in this area.
Yes, it was.
And now this fall, it's pretty much turned 180. We were really, really wet. If you didn't get your wheat in pretty early into September, you probably had a really hard time of even getting anything in, and it's continued throughout this, you know, the winter as well, and it's kind of shut off a little bit here, and there's actually dust flying behind the pickups, if you can believe that out
Absolutely.
here. So how has this maybe affected your decisions here, and how do you go about making decisions with all this Mother Nature that's going on?
One of the reasons I'm so strong for no-till is that when you do have a dry year or a wet year, no-till just kind of buffers the natural conditions. Whether it's too wet or too dry, you've got cover that will either help the water soak in or will help to preserve what moisture you do have. So far as changes go, I haven't made any adjustments that way because I don't have to work my ground.
Okay. And so how long have you been in no-till?
It's been 15, 16, 17 years now.
Okay.
And the best part of it is I learn something every year, and I am never ceased to be surprised.
Okay. So, and you transitioned from conventional tillage?
Yeah. The problem I had with conventional tillage was the day I finally realized that I tilled to cover up the mistakes I was making. If I worked too fine and we got a rain, there were the ditches.
Right.
And if I worked too wet and had the whole field in clods, I could dry perfectly good moisture out in no time.
Right.
So, like I say, no-till is just a buffer between me and a whole lot of mistakes.
Okay. Now, so now, since you're considered an expert at this now, right? In the no-till.
But you're the one with the clipboard.
Oh, okay. So transferring, you know, from transitioning from conventional to no-till, you know, with these young farmers starting out.
Right.
Now, a lot of them may be starting out with no-till, but, you know, if switching your tillage operations, equipment is kind of a big impact with that. So
that and the pucker factor on switching to no-till is just incredible.
Okay.
It is a method of farming that you have never seen the results you will get, and you don't know what right and wrong look like.
Okay.
With tillage, if you have no trash on the field and you have everything absolutely clean and powdery, you did a really good job.
Okay.
Well, in all honesty, what you're seeing out here, I'm pretty proud of so far as a no-till operation, because once you start incorporating cover crops into your no-till organization, things get a whole lot better even.
Okay, and how long have you been incorporating your cover crops into your cropping rotation?
This is the 6th year.
Okay.
And the nice thing about it is that I used to worry about things like, did I wash all my nitrogen off? Is my phosphorus now in the Solomon River? You know, what have I done wrong?
Right.
Well, with this, I will say it once again, it's a buffer between me and mistakes.
Okay.
And the cover crops help to recover the stuff that you didn't use last year. So you will get the opportunity to use it again.
Okay. Okay. You know, because we're kind of in the transition area here that they talk about on whether cover crops work without a livestock operation to be a part of it. Mainly because of the moisture factor, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, because they always wonder if the cover crops are actually taking away from the next crop following. So you haven't seen that issue.
Not even a little bit. Okay. We've had some pretty dry years. The best thing about a cover crop is that Kansas has precipitation averages, which means over the course of an entire year, you'll see times when it rains and you'll see times when it doesn't. Well, if it rains while you're planting your cover crop, you'll get 6-foot tall sedan grass and you won't be able to see dirt at all. And that's a wonderful thing because the next time it rains, you'll have everything covered up. You can plant right into it.
Right.
If you have one of those years where it rained a whole bunch at the wrong time, maybe your cover crop didn't come up as well as you'd like it to have, but you still didn't disturb the soil. So you're preserving all the moisture you possibly can.
Okay. And with cover crops, you know, the kind of the term now is soil health.
Absolutely.
And so it increases your organic matter because it adds to biomass.
Absolutely.
And so all that soil bioactivity down there is increasing with this increased plant material on the surface here.
Absolutely.
And in the root system as well.
Well, a soil that has something growing on it is far healthier than something that has nothing growing on it. I will go to my grave saying that I would rather see a crop mat like this at this time of year than anything else because it's living soil. Okay. One of the nice things about soil testing in this part of the country is that you get to see your organic matter climb and climb and climb.
Okay.
If I incorporated livestock into my cover cropping, it can even help with that because cattle will walk off a certain amount of it, but they leave a whole lot behind.
I want to thank Fred Severance from the Mitchell County area, Asherville to be more specific, for sharing with us about your operation here in North Central Kansas. And thanks for joining us today. My name is Sandra Wick, the Crop Production Agent for the Post Rock Extension District of K-State Research and Extension.